Gateway PDA site plan. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. We do have one petitioner for tonight's meeting. This petition is for approval of the preliminary PDA site plan and preliminary condominium plans. As you remember, on February 27th, a special meeting was conducted by City Council to review the amendments to the Fairways at Gateway PDA site plan. The CEO of Infinity Homes, the developer, presented a PowerPoint to council and answered questions. Tonight is the action that's being requested by Infinity Homes and Company. The petitioner is here to answer any additional questions or supplementary questions that council do have. If there are no questions from council, there are three action items.
I'm sorry. We're not going to, it's not a presentation? We're done with the presentation?
The presentation
piece?
was at
So
the
I do
special
have a
meeting.
couple of, through the chair,
Yes, Ms. Talley.
I have some clarifying questions I have. Thank you. Couple of quick questions. The PDF, does that cover all the developments, the current and the ones that to be formed?
I'm sorry, say
The
that one more time.
PDF, does it cover the current the current developments and the ones to be developed?
Correct, what you submitted, yes, covers that.
Okay, they're all to be covered under the PDF?
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Okay, so then I also saw that we have a master deed and the bylaws for the two new developments, correct?
The Oakmont and the Bluffs, yes.
Yeah, Oakmont and the Bluffs. And so they are not established HOAs, right?
No, they're in infancy stages. Right now, there'll be developer control until such time.
Right.
The bylaws outline a percentage of occupancy till there's a transition to the community.
So when that transition happens, they'll go back and revisit, because this is something that was drawn up, because they have no clue because they're not formed and they are not developed. So will this stuff be brought back to the table once they are developed as HOAs for the Bluffs and Oakmont?
Yeah, define bring back to the table, so I might know how to answer your question. When you say bring back to the table, what do you mean?
No, I mean, not bring back table, but will they be looked at because they will have to get up to speed as to the deed and the bylaws, correct? Because there's no HOA in place,
Somewhat. What we do is, so with each purchase agreement that gets signed, what happens is the buyer will have, under the state statute, gives them 9 business days to review the contract, the master deed and bylaws, any other ancillary documents that go with the sale. So that's all given up front, and then that pretty much, everything's fully disclosed. That's what that state law gives them, basically that transparent review period. So how that works is afterwards, well, let's just say for the single family phase, if there's 91 units in there, typically you'll have 2/3 of it. Once 2/3 of it is developed and occupied rather, then we'll have basically start appointing board of directors. Until then, it's very traditional, it's all developer control because you have no residents in there until such time. Does that answer your question, or?
Okay, and then lastly, when I was looking at the Bluffs, I think it was their bylaws. And so you as a developer, because you are part of the, it says here that you are part, even though you're a member of the Bluffs Condominium Association because of the development, correct?
Right, yeah. correct.
Okay, so what is your responsibility as far as, is your responsibility different from the other, would it be different because you are the developer? Or what is your responsibility as far as the HOA is concerned?
Well, we're basically, until those, obviously other language in there that basically will state, like during the developmental sales period, the developer will have basically control over like signage and things of that sort, everything that will help promote the marketability of the community. But we're basically in charge of maintenance and all the basic day-to-day operations of the maintenance of that phase of that HOA, until such time you hit that percentage of occupancy, then at that point you have board of directors. So really the developer, and this is not just here, it's anywhere, will have basically the lion's share of all the maintenance until such time you start appointing, board seats. Other than the developer rather, so.
Okay, thank you. We just want to ensure we have the right development, and it's a win-win for you, the residents, and the community, and something we can be proud of. Thank
Give me
you.
both, thank you very much.
Mr. Wadsworth?
If I could, and I'm not sure I should go to this gentleman or the mayor, where do we stand with the undone things at Creekside that he is part of?
Good question. We're working with him to wrap up the other developments he's worked in the community. I think altogether you've built in 6 different areas of the community over the last 10 years?
Of just Romulus itself?
Yeah, just as Romulus.
Yeah, about a half dozen.
So he's finished up a few of them, but the ones we're talking about right now is Creekside, then also the other one is on Cogswell Road. What's the name of that one?
Legacy Park.
Legacy Park. So he's got ongoing issues there. We met on some of the Creekside issues last week with Wayne County, because some of the issues are under the jurisdiction of Wayne County. So we're working to move forward on those.
Are we going to be
Continue
able to
meetings.
work these things out? you
Oh, yeah,
feel,
absolutely.
In a timely manner? or
Yes.
what? I mean, we
Yep.
just can't, this was going on over a year ago. Yeah.
Yep, and some of the issues were set back due to, you can't pour concrete in the middle of wintertime, so there's some things beyond their control that they're working on. Also Wayne County and the drains, and then Wayne County and the passing lane on Pennsylvania Road, we were waiting on determinations from them, and we all know about the transition of Wayne County right now. So there are some things out of their control as well, that we're working with them. But we'll have reoccurring meetings until it's all wrapped up.
And my question to you is you intend to take care of these things, correct?
Well, yeah, if I may, I sent an email, I wanted to send this out on Friday, but I sent an email
I
to everybody
read
this
today, too.
afternoon. If I can just present this to the deputy clerk to pass around, if you don't mind, so. What that is, that's an email basically that was shared with us and everybody, Wayne County staff and permitting staff about everything that's going on with the outstanding items that have been brought to us, to our attention to date. So that's all for that's all for the record, to everybody for your review. I mean, again, the email was sent, but if you wanted to see some in writing, that there's like a email exchange between myself and the city, just basically backing up everything that's outstanding with that community.
Ms. Williams? Bill, will you finish?
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to say this because I live in Avalon Meadows, and our original builder was F.J. Pinehouse. Infinity Homes came in and finished the vacant lots that had been vacant, if I'm not mistaken, about 16 years. And so what the subdivision is doing now, because Infinity is finished, just to verify the operations of how when the builder finished, the residents in that subdivision take over. So we're in the process of having the election to release the responsibilities from the original board that was governing our association. So, and I just tell residents as they have complaints, I know with the builder, it's a year warranty, and pretty much, I don't have any resident in our subdivision, and I'm sure the mayor and the city is aware of it, with any complaints, the new homes that was finished. You have a year warranty, and then you have an 18-year warranty on the concrete. And what residents have to understand is that some of the things are just nature, And as I said before, and not trying to defend Infinity, but I remember even when my niece was building her home, the government shut down all activity from builders and a lot of different corporations. And so I don't think it was an intended delay, but at the same time, I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say about the association. Every association, and I wasn't familiar with it until I moved into that subdivision, but every subdivision, based on how they're set up from the beginning of construction, has an association. And once the neighborhood or that subdivision is finished, the residents take over the subdivision. So the residents have to be aware. You can't just sit in your home and not pay attention to mail that come to you or emails or phone calls. You have to, once the neighborhood or once the association, the residents take over, you got to pay attention to what's going on. And all bylaws is pretty much governed by the state of Michigan. So it's not like Avalon Meadows is treated different than Gateway. So I just wanted to say that because I am in a subdivision, and we sit for 16 years with empty lots. And it actually hurt our property value. And now that that sub is finished, our property value have went up. A lot of people don't understand And it's good and bad, because then the value of your home go up, and your taxes go up. But, you know, sometimes we as humans, we want the ice cream, the cake, and we want to eat it too. So you just got to know the rules, because it's not a lot of times what you think. You have to read and you have to understand. I just want to say that.
Oh, Ms. Webb?
Yes,
Ms. Webb?
John, may I say something? I'm not in a subdivision with an association, but my daughter is. She's in the Commons. And when you live in a subdivision, you are neighborly, you want to stay involved. She and the president get out and they pass out any type of literature that the association is planning to put out. Everyone is notified, but you cannot have, you can't be organized if you don't participate. You have to participate. If I was in an association, if I did live in a subdivision with an association, I'd be the first one to raise my hand to be president, or at least vice president, because we neighbors need to know. My daughter is very, very in tune to the commons over there, because they get out and walk, they share barbecues with their neighbors. You know, an association should be neighborly with whomever they're serving with. And to me, it's organized. You know what's going on in the neighborhood. You can just pick up your phone and call your neighbor, because, you know, you all socialize together. You can't have something if it's broken. It has to be fixed. And I think this is great. To have an association, I'd love to have one so I could go and remind my neighbor to mow their grass, you know? Or to mind them to, when you walk your dog, what you're supposed to have in your hands. You know, a lot of people will move into a neighborhood who have never been even associated with an association. They don't know. Some people have never had dogs. They don't know how to, you know, what to do. I don't want to step, you know, make the wrong step. But if you notice, most people, the majority of the people who are moving into neighborhoods, they're moving home. They're taking their children, they're taking their pets, they're going home. They want a neat, clean, quiet place to live. And you can't have that if you don't participate with your neighbors or agree to the association bylaws. That's a must. Thank you.
Mr. Wadsworth, and then,
I just have one more question, and I guess it should go to the mayor. You know, I think that this deceleration lane on Pennsylvania Road is very important for those folks. Is that going to be a problem getting in with Wayne County, or?
I don't think so now. The part of the delay was we were waiting on their roads division to make a decision on it. It was part of the originally approved plan. We want to know, but it's a Wayne County road under their jurisdiction. We didn't know if it was still going to be required. We finally met with them, got them to make a decision on it. They forwarded the information over to Kathy Hood, who sent it over to Infinity Homes, and they are moving forward right now with the submittal to it, right?
Yeah, one thing in respect to, there was a couple of things we're verifying on that, which I think I might have put in the email, but they might be, and maybe any of you might know, they might be, I guess there's an expansion or a widening of Pennsylvania Road coming up. Are you aware of that, Mr. Mayor, or no?
There are talks about that right now, but we're trying to get them to, and there's talks of expanding Ecorse Road as well. So Wayne County's got it on the radar. I'm not sure how soon it's going to happen. It might be years down the road, but yeah, there's talks of, you know, making that a Class A road, develop it in the future, so.
So I heard just through contacts in the county, and obviously a lot of different construction companies deal with it, that they might be doing it as early as next year. I believe it was east of maybe Middle Belt, but I want to verify that, because the thing we want to do is we're not going to sit here and having to widen the road. If this has happened to me before in 2 other municipalities where we've spent a few $100,000 widening the road, and a year later they're coming there, removing all of it and having to redo it. So not only is it just a complete waste of funds and resources, it's just more aggravation for the community, because you're doing all this work one year, and then a year later down the road, they're ripping it all out again and having to redo it all. So,
right,
so there's things, if it is our responsibility, but it was actually the developer's responsibility. But it's something we're going to address. We want to make sure that we're crossing our Ts and dotting our Is before it gets done, so.
You know,
Okay, fine.
And that's a fair question, but I haven't heard anything from Wayne County that would lead me to believe that they're doing that within the next 24 months at least. But that's not beyond Wayne County to do things like that without letting us know. So I'll make sure I reach out. If we can get any information, I'll share it with you.
Wouldn't be the first time, so.
Ms. Page?
Thank you. I just have a couple questions just for my own education. So I did not see the presentation, so I want to mention that. There's plans for condos, 53 potentially. And so my question is in regards to non-warrantable condominiums. You're familiar with that?
For the most part, yes.
Okay, so rentals versus owners. Do you know what that picture may look like?
I can't say at this point because I don't know what, for a variety of reasons, I don't want to commit to that because I don't know what the way the market's going to look like. If we sell, what the end user does with their unit is up to them. So if there's no exclusions on rent on there, nor would I think it'd be good for anybody to put that in there because in the event something, just for example, imagine if you moved in your unit in 2007 or 2008, you lost your job, and now you have a mortgage payment to make. You want to rent your unit because otherwise you're going to lose that unit. So there's a number of reasons why I wouldn't put that in there, but it's a good question, though.
That's why I referenced the non-warrantable condominiums, because I actually experienced this last year with a family member. And there are guidelines for 2023, I'm looking it up. But if there is, and I don't want to give the percentage because it looks like it could have changed, but you can't have a certain amount of ownership with one person because then you can't get an FHA mortgage. And that is obviously a problem. So I just want to make you aware, you may want to look it up on the non-warrantable condos.
Well, it's different when you're a developer because I come across this all the time. It's different when you have incomplete units, like we went into other developments where Councilwoman Williams stated that it's more, that the project's worth more as a whole than it is incomplete, meaning that for non-warrantable is if you have 100 units and 50 are built and you have 50 units remaining, which is a case what we have in Brownstown right now, they couldn't get FHA, they couldn't get government I don't want to say subsidized, but government-backed mortgages for that. It was all conventional, and then that restricts you to 20% down, and restricts your buying pool, and restricts your demographics. Yeah, I am well familiar with that. This wouldn't be the case here because we would be starting off from infancy with developer control as we sell them off.
Forgive me, I said FHA. It was a conventional mortgage that we could not get on it.
It's just the opposite, actually. You couldn't get FHA where you can put down 3% or 5%.
And I understand what you're saying, but I tried all sorts of things to help this person with I keep saying FHA, but it was a conventional. And it was because there was 50% ownership into this condos. So I'm just bringing it to your attention because that potentially could be a problem. That's why I'm saying to look at and as the developer, it might not have anything to do with you. It's going to be for the person that could be interested in purchasing it. But because of the market in 08 and 09, that's where there was liability and loss, and that's why they came up with these regulations and guidelines with the non-warrantable condominiums.
I would be curious. I would be more concerned if it was the inverse of what you said, if it was not, we were excluded from FHA and not conventional, because you have such a huge buying pool. I think it's like out of the $11 trillion mortgage market, I want to say 70% is all government backed. So that basically, think about it, there's a lot more people that have. There's less people that put down, they put down 20%. There's a bigger pool that puts down 3%, right? So I'd be more concerned with the bigger buying pool than.
But it may limit people also that are just getting a regular conventional mortgage.
Yeah.
Just a thought, I just wanted to
Yeah, I
throw it out there.
appreciate the thought. I'm just going to look into that because you got me scratching my head on
Yeah,
that now. So.
I've never heard of it before, learned about it, shared it with some other people that I work with. They never heard about it, but it's an interesting change that took place because of the market in 08, 09.
Because you had a bunch of incomplete subs everywhere, nothing, yeah. Until you had a wholly built sub, it really restricted your financing.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You have anything else?
Only thing I'll just say in closing, this has been probably almost a couple years in the making. We're definitely looking forward to finally moving this forward. I'm sure the city's, hopefully the city's thrilled about getting this project. It's been on their books and in their city for a quarter of a century now. So as a company, we've been well-rooted in Romulus for nearly a decade now. I've worked closely with the building department, Mr. Mayor when he was building director, and now mayor. Only thing I can tell you is that no company is perfect. If anybody comes up here before you guys and said, our company's 100% perfect and, we're always gonna do the best job we can, our business relies on hundreds of contractors on a day-to-day basis. So what I can tell you, and I'll say this on public record, that I'm very receptive. It's like if any of you seen The Godfather, I'm more of a person who's interested in bad news than I am good news, because the bad news I need to take care of. So what I can just tell you in closing is that I'm receptive. If there's an issue, my email, my phone number is on file with the city. If something happens, I would just appreciate negative feedback, because that's the stuff I need to work on. So, but hopefully we've established a reputation in the city. Again, there's always going to be the complaints that come through. Some are valid, some are invalid. And, we look forward to continuing our relationship with the city. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So if there's no more discussion from council through the chair, we do have one request from a resident who would like to speak on this item before council takes action, and that's from Luis Pastula.
Okay, Mr. Pakula.
Thank you for giving me this time today. I'm Louise Pastula. I live at 30240 Becky Lane. I'm coming here as an individual that lives at Creekside Condominiums. And I'm hoping that the council at this time will delay the permits for Infinity to start another subdivision before these other two subs are completed. They've been given plenty of time and have gone beyond the allotted time in our Creekside bylaws. I've been given excuses about the weather conditions. While this builder rushed to get his homes done for his monetary gain, our communities have been ignored the entire sub for the last few years. I'm sure he's made money selling these homes, but our roads and things, they're not taken care of. Money that was collected by the HOA that he was beginning to start while we had an existing HOA has not been returned to the new residents. Also, money for the mailboxes. I have one list here of 10 people on it that I know of that the money has not been returned to them. I think that's really a red flag. The pond still has not been properly dredged. The turn lane has not been installed. As far as Wayne County coming in to do this or that, it was their responsibility. They had, in a meeting before they had started on the subdivision, said that they were going to come in and they were going to do all of these things. Our roads haven't been repaired, the sidewalks are not completed, especially as far as the handicap areas go, which really concerns me because my father's a handicap disabled veteran. The walk-over bridge has not been installed. There may be other HOA issues that we are unaware of that our president may know that still hasn't been done. We were promised at that council meeting before the sub started that these things would be done, and they have not been done. We feel ignored by our complaints. We've been to the council meetings several times. Furthermore, those city council members here that have accepted donations from Infinity, their family members, and have family members that have had homes built by Infinity Homes during this time, I feel should abstain from this vote. We've had enough problems with this city and some things that have happened to our mayor, or ex-mayor, I'm sorry. I'm not going to stand here and publicly embarrass anyone or bring up names at this time, but I do feel it is a major conflict of interest And our city needs to regain our trust, the people here, our trust from our elected officials, especially after the previous issues. Please prove us right.
Thank you. Yes,
I know you conclude the meeting, but there's a couple things were said I just want to clear up on a public record. So we outlined to you guys a list of some of the items she mentioned, such as the decel lane, the roads. I think we can all agree it doesn't make sense to complete and fix your roads when you're basically starting a project. You always do it at the tail end of it. So we took over the project in 2020. We started construction late after COVID was, the lockdowns were released. We were able to work again. But the thing I really want to touch on too, the pond that was dredged, that work was done. I think we're waiting on Wayne County to just sign off on that. That was done in the last few months. Well, Wayne County signs off on it, that's where we fulfill our obligation. But the thing I really want to address most on record that I kind of take actually offense to is that any kind of innuendos of us embezzling money regarding the dues, I think that's something I want to put on record with. So regarding the mailbox fees, to clear that up finally, because I've heard this at other council meetings before, in our contracts, we always take mailbox fees up front in advance. What that do, it goes towards putting the cluster boxes in. The USPS doesn't allow individual mailboxes to go in front of the house anymore. Every time you go in a new sub, we meet with the USPS, and they basically say, okay, we want your cluster box to be positioned here. So those cluster boxes could be anywhere up to 10 to 12 grand, 15 grand, depending on how many units are in the neighborhood. So we take that in advance from the homeowners. Now in this case, Creekside was already established as a site condominium in 2003, 4, whatever it was. We took over in 2000 and almost in 2021. So we were taking mailbox fees to put that in there. Now the sub was incomplete, blighted, vacant for a period of, 15 years possibly. So that money is in escrow right now with a title company. The issue that my understanding is, and we have documentation, so I'm happy to provide the council, is that their president, they want to basically withdraw from the association because a lot of them were living there for a number of years without paying HOA dues. When we came in there, we had a management company going in there to try to reestablish it because it is a site condominium, which their bylaws state you do have to have a president, a treasurer, a vice president, and you have to pay dues. Well, a lot of them haven't paid dues for 15 years, and they were objecting to it. So we had multiple meetings with them. They have a president now that I don't think is doing his fiduciary obligation as a president. They need to elect a new president, and that money is in escrow if they want it. I can release it to them, but there's no one to release it to because they don't want to have an association. So as soon as they establish that, the money is there with their title company. I'll provide the council, the mayor's office, a letter from our title company saying the money's there. It's been there accumulating for 18 to 24 months now. So our company is one of the largest home builders in the state of Michigan. I don't need their $3,000 or $4,000 for the mailbox fees. So that being said, everything for Creekside, I know there was some issues that came up, and they're frustrated about what's happened in the past, but a lot of it isn't on us. I'll take blame where blame's due, but this isn't the case here. So I just wanted to clear that for record, because a lot of this has been said for like the last 2 years here, and you have one person here that's saying this now, and I want to make sure it's clear for the record. Thanks.
When Infinity Homes came in, they tried coming in on a totally different name for the association. They didn't check to see if the association was still in limbo. They didn't check anything. But they collected fees from these new people. Now, they still have the fees from these new people, but we don't want to get into any type of legal battle of someone collecting fees from someone that shouldn't. We are right now working on getting our association together because we have to, unfortunately. None of us are thrilled about having the association, but of course it's in our master deed, and we're going ahead with it, and we've elected our officials. Stan Gordon being our president, and this money needs to be returned to the people. We had nothing to do with collecting it. This is our association. So I think that Infinity needs to refund whatever it is to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I was just going
Ms.
to
Webb?
I was just going to ask the question, how long have you lived in,
I've been there 5 years.
did you pay the association fees?
No,
when
we
you
were
there?
told there was no association at the time. They
okay.
had started up, and then it was kind of left in limbo. No one really kind of knew what was going on. And then we received a letter from Whitehall, and it was actually very rude. When I spoke with Whitehall, which I guess was their management group, I asked for a copy of the bylaws because I never had even received a copy of bylaws. And I had been there for almost, well, 5 years now, but 4 years at the time, 3 or 4 years. And they were very rude. I asked for a copy. They told me I had to join their website. Unfortunately, my dad's a disabled veteran. He puts things underneath a thing so he can read. And I was refused a copy of the bylaws. I finally got a copy of the bylaws from Kathy Abdu. I had gone to the county. I had come here to the city looking for bylaws. No one had them. So we didn't know what to do. So basically, now that we found out that the association still did exist and the original builder still had the association, we had brought everything back up to date. They were aware of it, Infinity was. In fact, we put 2 of Infinity's people on our board that now that they've got their homes done, they really should have nothing to do with our association. But I think that they need to go ahead and refund these monies to people. We have people who still don't have mailboxes. They don't have mailboxes.
So I guess my question is probably with the developer. I believe that subdivision was built, what, about 15 years ago? Okay, and the people who joined the association, they made their payments, correct?
We're beginning to start the dues, yes.
Oh.
We're working on that. We've been working on our budgets and things like that, yes.
No, I'm not talking about, I've never heard of 2 associations in one subdivision, but, no,
Right.
I'm not speaking on the current. You said you've been there 5 years.
Right.
Okay, I'm not speaking on yours, I'm speaking in regards to the ones who paid or should have paid every month, you know.
That would be the old association.
Uh-huh, so they're the ones who are wanting their refund, correct?
No. Infinity Homes tried to open a new association under a new name with a new management company, basically trying to force the old neighborhood back into it, into theirs. And, you know, we had looked up some of the fees and such and went, no, where is our old association? We had no idea. So we were able to get a hold of the old developer, and we brought our association back up to date. So the fees will be paid to our association. We are now deciding where we're going to be putting the mailboxes, things like that. And we're, I'm sorry, we're working on it. It was actually illegal for a new association to be brought in on top of the old association.
It's a mess.
Okay.
Thank you. Leah?
Yes, I would just like to be clear. Campaign finance is public. There's nothing you can hide. What you have to understand, because I don't have anything to hide, and I noticed this is the second time you brought that up. Infinity Home also gives a lot back to the community. The turkey drive, movie in the park, trunk or treat. So they give back to the community. That's what I'm about. Getting businesses, local businesses, to give back to the community. So it's not about buying a vote or siding with a certain company, because I voted on Infinity Homes when they came and finished our subdivision. There was no election, and I just wanted you to know that anything pertaining to campaign finance, and many of us up here have voted after we received donations from different companies. But I just wanted you to know that it's not a hidden fact, it's public information. I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna move on this.
Set her down.
If it's public information, then you can look it up. But I know your concerns too. I know I haven't received anything from no one. I just wanted to, just keep the meeting moved on.
So to proceed forward with tonight's agenda item, there are 3 actions that are being requested for council. First action is to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve PDA-2020-001, Fairways at Gateway, amended preliminary PDA site plan and First Amendment to the PDA agreement subject to conditions identified in the consultant and department reports.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve the PDA-2020-001, Fairways at Gateway, amended preliminary PDA site plan and First Amendment to the PDA agreement subject to conditions identified in the consultant and department reports.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Webb, and this is for the approval of the preliminary PDA site plans and preliminary condominiums plans. Any discussion?
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Talley.
And I just want to make a couple of comments because I know some of your pain, Ms. Louise. I have, let me say this, I'm confident in our mayor and their team on addressing the things that's going on with Creekside. I know it's been long coming, and again, I feel your pain. I've been in excuse me, I'm doing everything, several meetings as well regarding the Creekside project. And then I also was a part of the study session last week for this new development. So I'm saying to you, I understand where your pain in this. But based on the information I saw in the study session, the presentation, and then from our team, our Carol Maison's team, and then the recommendation from our planning commission, I can't hold it up because, defer it because of the people have done their due diligence on this, but just know that I know that the mayor is diligently working on this and trying to get these things worked out with Creekside, been in communication with Stan as well. So I just wanted you to know that just for the record. It's nothing we can really say to make you convince you, and I get it. It's just been a long time coming. But just wanted you to know my position on it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wadsworth.
If I can, there's been a lot of things that haven't been completed. And, what bothers me is we talked 5 years that we haven't gotten mailboxes in place. That kind of bothers me. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other comments, we're going to have a roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
I'm going to vote yes this time, but the next time you come in front of us, if these problems haven't been solved, you won't get any more yes votes from me. Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes, with the comments I brought up on the discussion, yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion approved.
So the second action item regarding the petitioner's request is to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR 2020-013, the Bluffs at Gateway Preliminary Condominium Plan.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR-2022-013, the Bluffs at Gateway preliminary condominium plan.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Webb, to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR 2-2022-013, the Buffs and Gateway preliminary condemnation plans. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Talley.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
And the final action regarding the petitioner's request is to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR-2022-014 Oakmont at Gateway preliminary condominium plan.
Mr. Chair,
It's Ms. Roscoe.
I'll make that recommendation, motion to concur with recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR-2022-014 Oakmont at Gateway preliminary condominium plan.
Need a second? I need a second.
Second. Sorry.
Okay, it's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Williams, to concur with the recommendation of the Planning Commission and approve SPR-2022-014 Oakmont and Gateway preliminary condominiums plan. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council, and that concludes the petitioner's item. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. At 6:45, we had a study session that was presented by our treasurer, Stacy Page, for our quarterly investment report. Thank you, Ms. Page. I'd like to read something. It's just some, for your information and stuff. I know a resident always asks me, when are you going to start reading this again? His name is Joe. So, Joe, I'm going to read this for you. So, it's called Household Hazardous Waste Collection. Joe. This is an example of some of the acceptable items that you can take to Wayne County Community College on Haggerty Road in Belleville. And some of them is household paints, stains, dyes, floor wax, floor care products, carpenter cleaner, furniture polish, bathroom cleaners, stain removers, pharmaceutical waste, nail polish, glue, fertilizer, lawn and garden chemicals, antifreeze, motor oil, gasoline, automobile batteries and dry cell batteries, fluorescent bulbs, all types, mercury thermometers, thermostats, mercury and electronic recycling, computer CPUs, monitors, printers, scanners, keyboards, cell phones, fax machines, copiers, and television. The reason I did that because you have 3 locations. This will be April the 1st of this year from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then on the same products that they're accepting for waste will be June the 17th at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., but at a different location. That'll be at Henry Ford College in Dearborn. And then the third and final location, let's see if I can get this open. It will be August the 26th at 8 a.m. to 1. And that is the Westland Shopping Center in Westland. If you have any questions, you can call the coordinator at 734-326-3936. The reason I read this off because a lot of residents like to know to get rid of some products, hazardous products and waste collections in their community. And they want to know location, so I usually do this once a year, and then Josie do it again, so I'm doing this for Joe. He know what I'm talking about, I'm not gonna mention no other name. So, Ms. Roscoe?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
while we're discussing pickup of items and dropping off things.
Okay.
Maybe the mayor can address the situation with the branches and the storm damage and everything we've had lately. I know a lot of people are pulling things out to the street and what have you, and they need to know what the protocol is, enabling them to get those items picked up as far as the trees go.
Absolutely, great point. As we all know, is years ago when the cuts came, we had to release our chipper crews. We no longer ran a service crew as part of a normal service in this community, unfortunately. But when storm events happen like this, we do reissue that. So DPW is, on bare bones already, but they got the crews out there in the chippers. So if you have branches from the storm, make sure you trim them, drag them out to the curbside, and stump side out, and make sure you call DPW and get on the list. They will be out. It may take some time. I know our chipper went down. It was out. The mechanics fixed it, got it back running, but it was down for about 24 hours. So they will be running to help residents get cleaned up from this mess. So bear with us, but make sure you cut them up, get them out to the curb, stump side out, and then also make sure, because a lot of people just put them out there, they don't call DPW to get on the list so you don't get forgotten about, and they will get to you. Thank you.
One other comment. I know I had seen it posted that you wanted them on that list by the 5th of March, which was yesterday, I think, or Saturday. But I think with the second storm we had, you had more damage. So is there a limit as to when they need to get on that list? Because
No, we can
we're
push it
not
out to
going
end
to
of week.
continue to do this for weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, we're going to try to get it done as soon as possible.
And hopefully we'll have no more storm events causing all these limbs to break, so we'll cross our
That's
fingers
true.
for that. But yeah, since the second snowstorm we had, we lost more trees, so if there's more limbs, we can definitely push that out to the 10th or put it at the end of this week, and just tell residents to get on that list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, through the chair.
Yes,
While we're
Ms.
talking about
Chair.
it, and you have been compiling a list of people who had their power was still out as well, is that correct?
We're working to collect that information and make sure we're
Okay.
informed. We are working with DTE on solving some issues.
Well,
There's some
I-
regional higher level issues with DTE right now that they're working
Okay.
on. So yeah, we're continuing to monitor it, but if people were out for an extended period of time, call City Hall, get on the list, give us information so we can make sure that DTE knows about these issues.
Well, I don't know if you did some, or I sent you a list, a resident over the weekend, their power was restored. Might not have been nothing you did, but they were just very grateful. I told them that you was compiling the list. And I text you their information, their power got restored, so thank you for that. But then you also sent information on warming centers. So that's something, I don't know if you have posted out there, that if people still have outages, you do have information on warming centers out there if they need you to use them.
Yeah, we shared on the social media page
Okay.
where the warming centers are at in Wayne County and the different addresses and contact information for that as well. So, yeah, unfortunately, winter months, colder temperatures, power goes out, we gotta make sure everybody's gonna be safe, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to thank my colleagues for bringing this up, very important information for the residents. So we got the hazardous material, waste collection information, we got other information that the residents want to know. And I want to thank the DPW for their work during the storms, and administration for the corporation, for the residents. At this time, that concludes the chairperson's report.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Webb, did you have something to say?
Pardon me?
You have something?
I was going to thank the mayor for getting out there, picking up the limbs and the brush and everything. I was totally surprised. I looked like, is that our mayor all bent over throwing? You are a day late. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Webb. It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe. Is there a second on that?
Support.
And second by Ms. Talley for approval of the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Yes. Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council, Deputy Clerk, members of the listening audience here, and also those at home who've tuned in. Couple items today before I get into the action items on my report. First, I want to give a nod to the DPW workers who were working out Friday night chasing this event. They were out till 3:30 a.m., and then they were back out finishing cleanup on this thing on Saturday. And I had some phone calls about why we didn't call a snow emergency. If we call a snow emergency, we will tow vehicles, and it's going to be expensive for the residents who leave the car on the road. So fortunately, residents are learning that, and they're getting the cars out of the road when it's snow, and they're self-notifying each other, so that's been helpful, and it really cuts down the time our crews are out there. And it also pulls PD away from situations they can handle. So they're out on running accidents that were everywhere. Now they're not going to be towing vehicles. So it's not that we didn't think it might be possible, and we had warmer temperatures coming behind it as well. So we allowed the DPW time to get it taken care of. They did a great job for us, but that's why we didn't call it snow emergency on this one. The warming temperatures behind it, and also we couldn't drain the resource on our PD. But I'm going to ask residents, please, 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 make sure you're getting your vehicles out of the road. If it snows, we're going to be plowing, and it's going to help us save you tax dollars. And we do not want to tow, but we will tow and we will ticket because we have to get the job done in a safe and efficient manner. So thank you for that. Also, I will direct your attention to the screen where we have the effervescent Vanessa Tolliver from the mayor's office with some community announcements.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Tolliver, and here are some events happening in Romulus. Nominations for Hometown Heroes are being accepted. Nomination forms can be found on our website or can be picked up in our lobby at City Hall. The deadline to submit is April 10th. Tomorrow is Taco Tuesday at the Artisan Reserve in downtown Romulus. Norman Catering and Events will be serving up tacos with Spanish rice and beans from 5 to 7 p.m. On Saturday, March the 11th, Good Measure, Inc. is holding a financial literacy workshop at the Romulus DDA Nest from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This free workshop is designed for children, teens, and adults. At this workshop, you will learn the most important things of good money habits and the importance of planning for the future. You can register by visiting the website on the screen. Save the date. Our annual community Easter egg hunt will take place on April 1st, beginning promptly at noon. Thanks, everyone, and remember to like and share us on Facebook and YouTube or visit our website for more information. Have a great night.
Thank you, Vanessa. One more piece of good news, too, is for those who haven't noticed, Leo's Coney Island is open on Merriman Road. They are in the location that used to be the Merriman Street Grill.
Yay.
So if you can't go in there, check them out. We'll be having a ribbon cutting soon. We're working with them right now. They did a soft opening, but they'll be up and running. So it's nice to have a franchise like Leo's here, and also, like I said, in a great location on Merriman Road. So go check them out. First action item I have for City Council tonight is the Wayne County subrecipient agreement for the HUD Community Development Block Grant. I would ask the council to concur with the administration and approve the attached sub-recipient agreement with Wayne County for HUD Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023 in the amount of $20,000. And again, that is the funds that are allocated to provide senior services for our seniors.
Through the chair,
Ms. Talley?
I'd like to make that motion to concur with the administration and approve the attached sub-recipient agreement with Wayne County for HUD Community Development Block Grant for the fiscal years 2022 to 2023 in the amount of $20,000, and I do have discussion.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Talley, supported by, who supported it? Williams. For Wayne County sub-recipient agreement for HUD Community Development Block Grant Program with Wayne County for 2022-2023 CDBG project year. Discussion, Ms. Talley, then Ms. Williams.
Yeah, thank you. So I know we're going to be doing a reconstruction for Brant Road piece. Is that coming down later? With CBDG?
That's additional CDBG money.
Is that coming
It's a
later?
different-
Do they have to come before us later?
I believe that one went before you last week.
Did it?
Yeah.
For real?
Yep.
Dang, okay. I'll take your word.
Well, it's a
for it.
good problem to have that we have, additional funds coming here for our roads, so.
Okay, no, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Ms. Tally?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. The next item I have up is for DDA board appointments and reappointments. I would ask the council to concur with the administration and approve the following appointment and reappointments to the Downtown Development Authority. Derek Steve Herman with a term to expire July 31st, 2026. Randy Moffett with a term to expire February 5th, 2027. And Brian Bush with a term to expire March 11th, 2027. And the appointment of Greg Greca with the term to expire August 26, 2023. And for those who don't know, Greg Greca is the martial arts studio that opened up downtown, so.
Through the chair,
Ms. Tally?
I'd like to make that motion to concur with administration and approve the following appointment and reappointments to the Downtown Development Authority. Derek Steve Harmon with a term to expire on July 31st, 2026. Randy Moffett with a term to expire February 5th, 2027. Brian Bush with a term to expire March 11th, 2027. And the appointment of Craig Greco with a term to expire August 26th, 2023, with discussion.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Tally, supported by Ms. Webb for the DDA board appointments and reappointments. Discussion, Ms. Tally.
Yeah, so Craig Greco, he's new, a new appointment? Okay, and thanks for clarifying who he was. But typically, we usually have the application that you guys attach, especially for new appointments, so we can get a little background on people. But thanks for the martial arts dig and plug, because that gives me background. But usually y'all attach like an application, what they fill out, so that we can kind of,
Well, we
no,
have the-
not this letter.
Not the, oh, okay, so you want the actual application?
It's like
You can do that.
the application, just kind of gives us a little background on what their, what their background is. But I'm good, though.
Thank you.
Ms. Tally?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
The next, we have a request for no fee permit for the second annual Rumble and Romulus event. So I would ask that council concur with the administration and authorize no fee permits for the Rumble and Romulus activities beginning Friday, July 28th at 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. and Saturday, July 29th from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m., followed by a brunch at a local Romulus restaurant on Sunday, July 30th, as well as a road closure of Goddard Road between Shook and Sterling Street, beginning at 10 a.m. on Saturday, July 29th, and ending 10 p.m. in the evening for the second annual Rumble and Romulus Bike Night event.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I'm
Mr.
gonna move that
Wadsworth.
we, I'm going to move that we issue a no-fee permit and road closure for the Rumble and Romulus event, which will be held on July 28th, 29th, and the 30th.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Tally, for a Rumble and Romulus event, no fee permit, road closure request. Mayor, just for the viewing audience, what is the Rumble and Romulus event contails of?
Well, Rumble and Romulus was an event put on by Brian Bush and Big Steve's last year. It was a weekend of event, and it coincided with our South Downtown, so they had a great event. There was a lot of people who came to our community that never saw Romulus before, and you don't have to have a Harley, you don't have to be a biker to come out. It's a great, diverse crowd to come hang out, and just, if you want to see things that are shiny out there, there's all kind of, there's metric motorcycles, American-made motorcycles, three-wheelers, all kind of different things. It's a great crowd, great people to come and hang out and have a good time. Good event to have in our downtown.
Okay, thank you, because I had some questions, someone asked me what was it about. Okay, thank you, Mayor. If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Tally?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. The next item we have is for Civic Plus, the software to assist the clerk's office with Freedom of Information Act management. So we ask the council concur with the administration and extend RFP 19-20-4 with Civic Plus LLC in the addition of Civic Plus FOIA management software administered by Next Request LLC for a 2-year commitment in the amount of $16,776 to be paid annually at $8,388, beginning in fiscal year 2023 and 2024.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion for extension of RFP 19/20-04 Pacific Plus with addition of Freedom of Information Act FOIA management software.
Support with the discussion.
It's a motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for extension of RFP 19/20-04 Civic Plus with additional of Freedom of Information Act FOIA management software. Discussion, Ms. Talley.
Dijon, real quick, we're canceling GovQA, is that what it is? We'll be canceling that one out?
That is correct. So GovQA is the current FOIA management software that we utilize. We have way too many glitches and issues with GovQA. The current contract is up in July, and Next Request was able to provide to us 4 months of free service so that it can help with the implementation and the changeover so there wouldn't be any drop in service. So we'll be ending GovQA in May, and by that time, we will already have implementation for Next Request.
No, thank you for that. My question was, what's the cost difference? I know that this one, but I'm just curious, just to clarify. What's the cost difference with the GovQA?
So there is an increase in cost. So GovQA would have been, GovQA was around $6,000. But with the software glitches and the issues that we had, and in conversation with other municipalities, and we demoed 2 other FOIA management softwares, and in communication with other departments like our police department and our fire department, on what would be easier to be implemented and usability, it came down to Next Request. And since we already utilize a lot of modules from Civic Plus with our website, Civic Engage, with the agenda management software, Civic Clerk, with our ordinance codification, Muni Code, bringing this extra package into this Civic Plus family, quote unquote, they will be able to offer us a group discount moving forward.
No, thank you for that. I just wanted to be clear because to me, I almost said you get what you pay for. So, no, I'm good with it. I love Civic Plus. I'm always on my laptop, and it does very well. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you. The next item I have is a budget amendment to recognize the funds for the SAFER grant for 6 additional firefighters. So I'd ask that council concur with the administration and introduce budget amendment 22-23-12 to recognize federal funding and allocate additional funds for costs associated with the acceptance of the 2023 SAFER grant and the hiring of 6 additional firefighter positions in accordance with the period performance for the grant beginning in March 20th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr.
I
Wadsworth.
will move for the introduction of Budget Amendment 22/23-12, and I have a question for the mayor.
Do we have a second?
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for introduction of Budget Amendment 22/23-12. Discussion, Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, Mayor, is this going to be 6 new people or just to pay for the 6 that are already there?
Nope, 6 new firefighters.
6 new firefighters. Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Williams?
To the mayor, now, if we accept this SAFER grant, is it a certain amount the city has to put in pertaining to this grant? And do we have to, after this first year or 6 months, city pick up the salaries after that? Or is it so many years
Right, I don't believe there's a match on this portion of it. Chief Carls can, or actually Deputy Chief Chapman can also speak on it, but these are set up and designed to establish the positions, and then they're supposed to be self-funded through process after. So, yeah, they get us started, it's like a jump start for the firefighters, and then it's supposed to be sustainable. So we've already been successful under Chief Kraus to add new firefighters under the SAFER grant, and those jobs didn't go away. We were able to maintain and sustain those positions, so.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So yeah, approximately 6 months ago, we came in front of Council for the approval and acceptance of the grant. And what this is the budget amendment to move, since our period of performance is March 20th of this year, we didn't budget for any positions this year for this grant because we didn't know we were going to be awarded it. So what this is a budget amendment to cover the cost from March 20th through the end of this fiscal year, June 30th. 100%, typically there's a spend down or a percentage match every single year. It's a 3-year grant, but coming out of COVID, the federal government made changes, and this is a 100% covered grant, so there's no city match whatsoever. So this is just to bring those funds out of general fund into public safety to cover from March 20th till the end of the fiscal year, and then we'll submit for reimbursement, and we get reimbursed the allowable funds from the budget amendment.
Okay, thank you.
John?
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
If I could, Chief, is this going to allow us to expand any more services?
So we are working on it. 2019, we did our community risk assessment. We identified a number of issues through that community risk assessment that we needed to work on. Some of that was dispatch related, some of it's response time, some of it's geographic location and response models, and we're continuing to work towards those. So adding these 6 bodies, there's going to be a period of time where they have to go through training and make sure that they go through their FTO program, and then once that's complete, we can start evaluating with some of the accreditation models that we've worked with GIS on deployment of those resources throughout the city. So if the question is west side coverage, we're working on it.
Okay, well, true, but are these positions already filled? I mean, we've got the people to put in them?
So currently, right now, Deputy Chief Chapman is working on that. I believe you have interviews this week? 7 interviews tomorrow.
Okay, good.
So we have some already identified, but we still have a couple spots open that we need to fill before March 20th.
Excellent, and I still think about the west side coverage.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Chief.
Chair, if I may ask the Deputy Chief?
You want to ask the Deputy Chief?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Pleasure to be back.
Okay, welcome on board. We don't get introduced sometimes to people. My thing is this, and I misspoke, I said Deputy Chief, I was speaking to the, I cannot keep up, okay? You all do not send me a memo on these changes. In regards to these 6 firemen, that's 3 years straight?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I guess my concern is what's coming down the pipe next? Do we need new engines? Do we need new, as far as these grants? Because we have 2 groups of responders in this city. And it seems like one doesn't get too much of anything. And I was just wondering what's going on because, excuse me, we have the firefighters whom the citizens love, firefighters, and actually they love our Romulus police officers. And I'm wondering we're getting a lot for the fire, which should be, but both safety units save lives. And I don't know if you need to work together on this, or, what can you do?
So what I'll speak on, Councilwoman Webb, is there's a fundamental difference between how the fire department receives our funding through federal grants and state grants, and police department receives their funding. I have been working with Chief Honest on a number of different things, and we're in lockstep with each other. Part of the funding that the Department of Justice pushes down for police has a lot of restrictions, and it's very specific on what it can be used for and what it can't be used for, unlike some of the firefighting funding that comes through FEMA. So we've been working together, and we've had a couple Zoom meetings, and this goes back prior to the election, like when our State Representative Garza was still in his position in office. We sat in a couple of Zoom meetings with the State of Michigan Department of Treasury, who actually promulgates the rules for some of the state grants, and explained to them that there's definitely an imbalance in some of the funding and why that imbalance occurs. Yeah. And I've sat shoulder to shoulder with Chief Honest and explained with our state representatives that PD's funding needs to be less restrictive. It's very training-based, which I think we'd all agree that training is important for both disciplines, both police and fire. But at the end of the day, if you don't have enough bodies on the street to deploy in the cars to the citizens, you don't have enough bodies to send to training and then backfill while they're in training. So I would say from a very high level, administrative-wise, we are working on trying to solve that problem and continuing to work together for it.
Yeah, because everyone loves a fireman, everyone loves a police officer now, especially in this city. I can't say all cities, but in the city of Romulus, we respect all of our first responders. And there's not a complaint as far as the fire department at present, but there are complaints in regards to not having enough bodies out on the street. I mean, a blind person can see that, but there's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot to be done. And I was just wondering if you were on top of this.
Definitely working with PD and through the mayor's office and working together as public safety, yes.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. In addition to that comment, a lot of the grant funding that's available for law enforcement is equally a priority. As a matter of fact, I think right now it's even more of a priority to support our police officers on our front line. But the SAFER grant is set up to start these firefighter positions, and then you can establish it and be sustainable after 3 years. And that's the business model. The funding for police officers in these grant positions is set up so right now we're approved for 47 officers. So the way they write this grant language is to say, hey, we're going to have new officers. Well, if we're at 44, we can't even get to that money to hire them. So Chief Honest and also Chief Carl's been working hard with the legislators in Lansing to change those narratives because there's gaps in that language, and it appears to us at least that the people who wrote these grant requirements are not in touch with frontline police officers, and they make it too hard to attain that money. So we're working on solves for that, but we're also working with the legislators to make sure that they're changing to remove those obstacles. Because like I said, most cities don't have enough, or you don't have your police officers to meet your quota. If you're approved for 50 positions and you only have 47 because you're trying to hire 2 more, you can't get to the funding that'll hire 51, 52, and 53. So, there's more than just making that a priority. We're also working to change those regulations as well. So, definitely a priority for us.
So, Mayor, you're saying if a police officer is not a frontliner, what is he or she or?
No, it's not that they're not a frontliner. It's the requirements to obtain the SAFER grants and the funding that's out there. And the way they word PD is to say, new officers. So you can hire new positions. So you can get funding to hire 3 new officers. Mm-hmm. Well, if we can't get to our quota, which is 43 or 47 is what we have approved, we can't hire new positions. We'd be backfilling the old positions. So they need to give us more wiggle room with that to be able to hire police officers, but we can't get the funding for it because we can't get to that total number of officers we've already got funding approved for. They cleared up.
I guess I just don't understand the rules
Okay.
and the regulations.
Well, you know what, it's a great point because neither do we, and we're working to make sure that the rules are set so it's a level playing field. And Chief Honest, like I said, Chief Carlos, we've also sent our whole team up to Lansing right now to work on that. Julie Albert's going up there, finance directors. We have a whole team of Romulus representing our city right now in Lansing to work on some of these issues. But it's all in the narrative to obtain these funds. And they write them in a way that they make it too hard, for a community like Romulus to get those funds. So we're working on getting them and also changing the rules so it's easier for communities like Romulus.
Yes, well, I guess.
But PD is definitely a priority.
I guess, yes, I hope so, not just because, but because we want safety, not only in our fire department, we feel safer than we do with our trained police officers. And I feel that that's unfair, and I will be contacting some people that's in Lansing as well, because we complain about crime. We complain because we don't have enough patrol officers. There's always the complaint, but there never seems to be any monies in that budget. I mean, it's beyond me, I guess, because I'm so used to, I've raised up in a police officers, with my dad, and I know how they did and how they handled things, and they didn't even have these safer grants or nothing else going on. People will realize one day that not one group is any, well, I'm not gonna use the word I was gonna say, but we gotta be even. It's gotta be even. We can't go around with our residents complaining that they're not safe, there are not enough patrol cars out, there are not enough employees, but you never hear it about the firemen, but they yet and still, and I really care about my firemen, but yet and still, you don't hear anyone complaining that there are not enough firefighters in this city compared to there's a risk, everybody's lives. But every time that patrol officer goes out the gate, now that's something else.
It's
Not
a national
every
narrative
time.
right now, too. You know, there's no police officers out there to hire. You know, so council approved funding for 4 new officers, and I think at this point, we've only been able to hire 1 to fill that position. We've interviewed, but through attrition, we, hire 2 and we lose 2.
I know,
So,
we
we
never
still
have
can't get those
enough,
seats filled, so definitely a
cut-
priority for us.
Not to cut you off, but we seem to never have enough experienced fire, patrol officers, police officers, all the officers, and, but I want our fire department to be well-equipped. And I thought that they were, but apparently they needed 6 more, or could get 6 more, which is fine. But let us not forget that if somebody's coming in my house or after me, I'm calling the PD, as they call them. I'm calling the police, because they're the ones with the guns, they're the ones who are trained in that area. See, I look at that training as well, the police officers, they don't climb the ladders, they don't put the fires out, but guess who's first on the scene? I mean, that's all I'm saying.
No, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Webb.
Thank you. The next item I have up is an additional budget amendment. I would ask the council to concur with the administration and introduce budget amendment 2223-13 to recognize additional fees for engineering reimbursements, and that is to offset the additional costs received for unanticipated development. So we've exceeded the mark for development in this community this year, the anticipated amount of revenues for engineering, and this is a pass-through fee. So it's a budget amendment to cover those costs of engineering.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth?
I will move that we have the introduction of budget amendment 22/23-13 in the amount of $150,000.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Williams, for introduction Budget Amendment 22/23-13. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Tally?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. Next item I have up, sole source purchase for Flock Group Incorporated. Very excited about this. We talk about public safety and keeping our community safe. It's a Flock system. It's cameras that are going to be mounted at our at key intersections throughout the city with PD. And Deputy Chief Shelby is here to talk about it if you have further questions. It's the installation of the Flock cameras, so I'd ask the council concur with the administration and authorize a sole source purchase and installation of 26 Falcon camera systems from Flock Group Incorporated, the City of Romulus Police Department, at a total cost of $146,100 under the terms of the sole source purchase exemption in Section 39-11, subsection D1C1 of the City of Romulus Purchasing Ordinance.
Through the chair,
Ms. Tally?
I'd like to make that motion to concur with administration and authorize the sole source purchase and installation of 26 Falcon camera systems from Flock Group, Inc. for the City of Romulus Police Department at a total cost of $146,100 under the terms of sole source purchase exception in Section 39-11, subsection D1C1 of the City of Romulus Purchasing Ordinance, and I do have a question.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Tally, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for the sole source purchase of Flock Group Incorporated Falcon camera system and installation. Discussion by Ms. Tally.
DC Shelby. I just want to thank you guys, because this was introduced when we were going through the budget review process, got me up to speed. I'm excited about it. Thanks for it was a great discussion we had when we were going through the budget review process regarding this, because I had no clue what it was. So thank you, Mayor, thank you, DC. But I did have one question, because we talked about the cost during that week too. And I see it's in two parts. Is this a one and done with these, or it's going to be annual fees ongoing after these first 2 years? When I was reading through this, I got a little confused.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Talley, and good evening, everybody. So yes, we plan to implement these cameras every year.
Every year.
The initial startup is a 2-year agreement, which gives us good time to evaluate the program, see how things are going, and if we like it, we can continue on.
Gotcha.
For more than just 2 years.
And will the price be different each year? Because we won't own these cameras, right? It's kind of like, are we renting them or leasing them?
Yes, we don't own the hardware at
Okay.
all. But the costs will increase. Actually,
Okay.
it's a blessing that we were able to purchase these in this time frame, because actually July 1, there's a price increase.
Right.
And so as you know, with technology, with the way prices up, down, and so it may be increased, and also we may be able to lower some of those costs by adding additional cameras.
Right.
So we're going to be reaching out to some of our local businesses and partnering with them to see if they would like to get on board and maybe help with some of the costs.
No, that's good. So you guys will be monitoring to do these next several years to just see how it works out. No, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Wadsworth and then Ms. Williams.
Darren, what's the memory of these cameras? 30 days, a year, forever? I mean,
Yeah, actually, they are capable of storing data for 30 days. And in that 30 days, if we have an incident in Romulus, then we're able to go in and capture that data that we need. And then that data will subsequently be absorbed into our database. But Flock itself, all that information is erased after 30 days.
okay, fine. Thank you. I think it's a good idea.
Ms. Williams?
Yes. This is my first time seeing this, and so where are these cameras going? Are they on the vehicles? I know some cities were putting cameras to read license plates on the actual police vehicle. Is that what this is for?
Actually, it's the same kind of camera, and some departments do have them mounted mobily on their patrol vehicles. But these particular ones will be stationary, particularly we're going to start with some of our major entryways and exit ways, some of our problematic areas that we keep getting calls to. So we plan to start with those particular areas. So these are stationary cameras that are mounted. You've probably seen them if you travel anywhere out of this town. All of our surrounding cities have them. So you'll see them, they're posted as like a black pole with kind of like a solar, square at the top. So they're mounted everywhere. So you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, I was just, as I was reading, I was wondering were they gonna actually be mounted on the police vehicles, or, somewhere like on a pole. So thank you for that.
No, we would like to, eventually get some, be able to get some that are attached to our patrol vehicles. That would also be a good tool to use.
Thank you.
John,
Yes.
I have one more question. Are these going to be able to be viewed in the police station all the time by the dispatcher, or?
No, these don't have that kind of capability.
Okay.
So ideally, what I'm excited about, the use of these cameras, for example, unfortunately, we do get our share of pedestrians struck by motor vehicles. And sometimes they're on the streets that are poorly lit. For example, Merriman and Nicor's has some areas up there that's real dark at night. And so if someone is struck by a vehicle, it's the middle of the night, nobody sees anything.
Right.
But that vehicle has to go somewhere. It has to pass through an intersection. So with these cameras mounted at our intersections, we'll be able to capture at least something.
So these will be used, if there's been an incident at a certain location, then we go to the camera?
Yes.
And pull- All right, fine, thank you.
I'm sorry, real quick through the chair, last question. The company is going to mount the cameras once we designate the locations, correct?
Yes.
They can't easily be dismounted by anybody, right?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because criminals are smart too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And any damage occurred, everything is fully covered under the warranty, so.
Okay.
Any, damage, any tampering with, any of that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If there's no other discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes,
Ms. Williams?
Yes?
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. And another nice addition to these cameras that I'm excited about is that they have the license plate reading technology. So and they talk to different communities. So if Van Buren has this system, which they do already, and somebody's out there and they steal a car, they break into a car as an issue, when that travels to our community, we're alerted. When it goes all the way to Taylor, because Taylor's buying them as well. Metro Airport already has them in service, but they communicate through these different areas. And the bad guys know what these cameras are. And we talk about data making good decisions, and the data shows of the violent crimes in Romulus, most of those are committed by people who aren't residents. So it's a way to let the bad guys know we're watching you, and if you come around here, to mess around, we're gonna catch you. So it's another tool for our police officers to help them do their job. So I'm excited about it, excited about the capabilities. So, and that will conclude my report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Number 6 is the clerk's report. There are no action items under the clerk's report, but I do have 2 announcements for our residents. The City of Romulus will be conducting its annual spring cleaning of the Romulus Memorial Cemetery. That spring cleaning is conducted the first 2 weeks in April. It's being asked that all floral arrangements, which includes wreaths and grave blankets, be removed by April 1st. Residents and cemetery plot owners can contact the clerk's office or come to the clerk's office to get the cemetery rules and regulations so they are aware of what is prohibited on grave sites and what is permissible on grave sites. The last announcement is the clerk's office is accepting registrations for the citywide spring yard sale. The citywide spring yard sale dates are Thursday, May 18th through Sunday, May 21st. Residents can register online via the city website. We received a lot of requests online in the 2022 fall citywide yard sale, so it was a great success. And we're hoping that the residents adopted for this season's yard sale. So they can register online via the city's website. They could come in person at our office, or they can send an email to clerk@romulusgov.com. And as always, if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, they could contact the clerk's office at 734-942-7540. And that will conclude the clerk's report.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk.
Thank you. Number 7 is the treasurer's report.
Thank you and good evening. I have a few items under my agenda. As a reminder, this evening we had a study session, and I just want to remind the audience that they can access the quarterly investment report on the RomulusGov.com site, and you could go under City Council Agenda, and you can locate the date that you're interested in. If you click on that, then you can review the materials that were presented this evening. Also, real property tax, the last day for collection was February 28th. Beginning March 1st, real property taxes are paid at the county. If you have any questions, you can always call the treasurer's office. But we do continue to collect personal property taxes, delinquent personal property taxes at the city, at the treasurer's office. So if you have any questions, again, you can call 734-942-7580. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. Number 8 is public comment. This is the portion of the agenda for those in the audience who would like to address City Council. The rules to address City Council can be found on the back of the meeting agenda. If you would like to address City Council, please raise your hand, and after being acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. Please note members of the public who submitted a public comment card will be called upon first. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Any additional time will be upon the consent of the chairperson. Mr. Chair, we did receive a public comment card, and this is from Doris Green.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
Mayor.
evening.
Good evening. Good morning. Look at this morning. At any rate, I only come here maybe twice, 3 times a year for our fundraisers. This Sunday, St. John's Lodge, number 44, and the Craftsman's Club will be having our family fun bowling fundraiser at the Romulus Lanes. The tickets are $25 per person. That covers your shoe rental and pizza. There's going to be games there and refreshments. It's 9 pin, no tap. So, like I said, I got tickets here for everybody up on council and some people in the audience if you want to come. But at any rate, this is our fundraiser for our youth department. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Green, what day was that? Sunday? And what time?
Sunday, March 12th. We start at 5 till 9.
5 to 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's at the glorious Romulus Lanes where we have Walter's Bar there for you guys who'd like to drink.
Thank you. Okay.
Does registration start at 5 or the bowling actually start at 5?
Registration is going to be at 5 and bowling actually starts right after. So we're just going to try and move from registration right into the event. Everybody get their lanes and start bowling. Any more questions?
Any more questions from council? Okay. Any other comments? Jerry?
How you doing? Jerry Frayer, City of Romulus. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Treasurer, and Deputy Clerk. I just want to let you guys know that earlier talking, the Romulus DPW has extended the acceptance of cause for the chipper service through Monday, March 13th, 2023. You can contact the DPW at 734-942-7579 to be placed on the chipper list for removal of branches that came down from the March 3rd, 2023 storm. Once again, that phone number is 734-942-7579. So it has been extended to March 13th, just for everybody here and at home. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
I just
Yeah.
I just want
Ms.
to make
Page?
a comment on that. I reached out to DPW, and the very next day, first they were prompt, so I appreciate that, and then they were out the very next day, and I got a call from 2 residents, just excited that they were there, and they actually felt bad because there were so many limbs down, and they said, well, there's a lot of work out here, is anything I can do to help? And I said, they got you, they got it covered, so thank you to the DPW. I know that's hard work, and there's been a lot of limbs lately between the 2 ice storms, so thank you for all that hard work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Now, any other comments from the audience? I'm sorry. If there are no other comments from the audience, we'll close the part out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number 9 is unfinished business. Number 10 is new business. Number 11 is communication.
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Talley.
I don't have a lot because Vanessa done stole all my thunder this evening. But I'm just going to touch on, but it was good stuff. Thanks, Vanessa. Hometown Hero, she's touched on. We want people to please get them applications in, please. The deadline is April 10th. And really want to highlight Kim Glenn. She's a Romulus resident that has a nonprofit, as Vanessa said, Good Measure, doing this financial literacy workshop, for future workshop, kids, adults, anybody who wants to be a part of it this Saturday from 10 to 2. So if you can, jump in there, go in there and take advantage of this, particularly for our kids. Some of us adults might need a little refresher too, but we get our kids, start preparing them. You know, we got to worry about, we got to think about our kids and the future behind us, the generation behind us. So if you know some kids that, just get them started, plant the seeds in them for finances. So just wanted to just highlight those two things that Vanessa took care of very well. Then Good Friday Walk is coming April 7th. If anybody wants to be a character, please contact me. We do need characters for the Good Friday Walk, which is April 7th. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Ms. Williams? Mr. Wadsworth, yes.
I'm not.
Yes, I would just like to, because I had several residents contacting me. Mayor, do you have any idea when they'll start on whatever the process will be pertaining to the veteran monument?
I believe Kathy's already working with contractors to let bid on that. But yes, as soon as we had that vote from council 2 weeks ago, Kathy's instructed to get moving on that.
Okay, thank you. And then also, last week I mentioned, because, you know, there were residents speaking of the injection well, and I asked the council, and we kind of got off track, but I asked the council, or I made mention that I would ask for a resolution, and we said we was gonna wait until communication, and it kind of went by. So I ask now that the council will support a resolution that we can send to the county and the state, and also to the federal level, to let them know that we, as the elected officials of this city, don't agree and would like for them to, whatever is necessary or whatever they can do to assist us to either put a stop to the well completely or put limitations on it to where there's more governing against the EPA.
I'll support that.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Williams, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, for resolution. Stop the well. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Williams?
Yes?
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Okay.
Mayor?
While we're on that topic of the well, too, we've been working with several other communities around who weren't aware of this issue, and we have a lot more voices with it now. And this is a state-regulated and also federal
Yes.
government regulated, so I'm not sure what voice we'll have. But DCC and CWW and all the surrounding communities are also passing a petition to request Eagle to reopen the public comment period. Their license expires this year, and there's a period of time that's set aside for public comment. That came and went. They did their notifications, but the city of Romulus wasn't properly notified about it. So we are asking Eagle to reopen that period of time for public comment. If city council would like to pass a resolution to send notification regarding that as well, I'm sure that would help. Like I said, DCC and CWW are all passing resolutions similar to that.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Yes, and also, you know, to the mayor, I know last week when Mr. Maul came up and asked the city to support the event with the Detroit Youth Choir. So, and I noticed, I was looking online and I didn't see it posted. I did offer for Mr. Maul to come to Forgotten Harvest and pass out whatever information he had there. So I do have some flyers left over that maybe we can get it to Mike or whoever and get it up on our city website. I mean, this, I've talked to so many people outside of the city, and this is really huge. not only for our city, but even for our schools, because you're talking about organization such as Detroit Youth Choir that's been on American Idol, American Got Talent. I think it would be a big encouragement to our youth, to encourage them to reach higher, or, that they have, because I'm sure we have youth here in our city that is very talented. And so, I would definitely like to see this on our city website. And then last but not least, Forgotten Harvest. And Mayor, can you make sure they change that on the site? Because we changed it over a year ago. So it doesn't start at 12, it starts at 10. And we're done at 1.
Starts at what time?
10.
10? Yeah, we can make that amendment there, and then also, Mike's probably watching right now, but we'll get that information to Mike and share it. And there was a follow-up meeting with school administrators too, with Mr. Mall, and I couldn't attend, but DC Shelby was there, just to work up through process and answer questions and help out and how we make this a successful event. So it sounds like we're moving forward with the event, and hope it's a great event that'll marquee our community and also, some talent. So.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chair, I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to Wendy Harmon. She had a pop-up event at Artisan Reserve this past, I think, last Wednesday. Great event. I'm excited, but when she opens her coffee shop, great tea. The mayor was there, Stacy Page was there, a couple of Romulus residents were there supporting her event. So just keep her in mind as she's working through the process of hopefully getting her shop open. She had a great event. The ambience was good. The coffee was amazing. I couldn't do it. I'm in Linton right now, but I had this amazing herbal tea, just amazing product that she offers. So just want to shout her out for all the hard work she's doing and trying to get her coffee shop going. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Any other?
If there's no more communications from council, number 12 is adjournment. The time is 9:16.
Adjournment, need a motion.
So move to adjourn?
Support.
Your motion by, go ahead, Mayor.
Council said that you were going to make the motion to
Oh,
petition
that's
Eagle
right.
to request that, and nobody made the resolution for that.
Yes,
We did that.
we did that already.
To come out against the well, or to petition Eagle? There was 2 resolutions required. One was to come out against the well, but the other one was to petition Eagle to reopen the period of time for public comment.
I'll make that resolution motion.
No.
Wait, hold
As
it.
Mayor stated.
It wasn't a resolution about Forgotten Harvest.
No. So I'm talking about the.
The well?
The period of open time, comment for Eagle, for the citizens of Romulus and surrounding communities. They have open comment on the reissue of that license. So I'm asking that council
Eagle.
pass a resolution to petition.
So you need
Eagle
another
to reopen.
resolution?
Right.
You need another resolution, that's what he asked.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll make the resolution to support a letter that goes to Eagle.
Yeah, petition on behalf of the city of Romulus to go to Eagle to ask them to reopen the period of open comment.
Okay. Need a second.
Second.
Eva said she's at.
Been motioned by Ms. Williams, supported by Ms. Roscoe for resolution. Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that motion is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next one was a motion by Ms. Roscoe and supported by Ms. Williams for adjournment. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved, we are adjourned. Thank you.